Although the one major change is instead of Night Veil Specters, he's playing 4 copies of Lifebane Zombie. So that's probably a concession to those Jund Monster decks out there. So JT Henricks is going to lead things off with a turn 1 Thoughtseize. Anthony reveals a hand of, it looks like Lightning Strike, Sacred Foundry, Boros Charm, Chandra's Phoenix, a Mountain, and a Temple of Triumph. And there's another card in there that we don't see very often.
Toil and Trouble, that's a pretty flexible slot, or flexible spell rather, capable of dealing damage equal to their opponent's hand as a 3-mana sorcery. The fuse side of it, the black side, is a black and 2 colorless. Target player draws 2 cards and takes 2 points of damage, so pretty flexible and good in general against control decks that are going to have a lot of cards in their hand.
Yeah, and he likely probably just uses it for the red side. Of course, he is a red-white deck, although he does have 1 copy of Temple of Malice, so he can actually fuse it randomly.
Alongside a couple copies of Temple of Silence, too.
Ah, yes. So Anthony is going to play a Temple of Triumph turn 1, and he's going to scry. He's debating if he wants to keep that card on top. Again, he doesn't have that much action. He does have that Chandra's Phoenix, but decides to keep the card on top of his library.
And the biggest departure here from Anthony's list and most lists of Red, White, Burn that I see is Young Pyromancer you see cast here over Ash Zealot.
So Young Pyromancer, definitely a card that can cause trouble later in the game, given the amount of spells in Anthony's deck. JT now, he's got a Pack Rat. Pack Rat now, it looks like he does have a 3rd Swamp, so he can activate Pack Rat, which is obviously very powerful. Let's see what he wants to do here. Generally, activating Pack Rat is usually the right way to go.
Yeah, the problem is it's a very tough path to take against burn decks, as especially one that has Young Pyromancer in play, as Anthony can make life very challenging for Henricks, killing Pack Rats periodically, making tokens. Searing Blood is also particularly good against Pack Rat.
So JT does activate Pack Rat, and he attacks Anthony for 2, dropping him to 18. Looks like Anthony drew a Mutavault for the turn to go along with that Boros Charm, Chandra's Phoenix, and Toil and Trouble.
Yeah, and I think Anthony needs to start leading with his Toil and Troubles, as they are likely to get worse. Henricks can make a land drop each turn and always activate and discard a card to Pack Rat, so he's capable of getting his hand fairly low.
And JT's hand's still pretty good. He does have a 4th land and Temple of Silence. He can play that, and he could actually try to set up his deck to get a 5th mana, because he does have a Gray Merchant in his hand. So he's going to be able to make his land drop, activate Pack Rat yet again. So pretty good shape. Looks like he drew a Bile Blade as well, so he can choose to answer that Young Pyromancer if he wants to.
Or he can also try to answer the tokens down the line and kill Anthony in 1 shot with his Pack Rat tokens.
Yeah, so it looks like Anthony's going to chump block one of the rats, and JT will activate. And it looks like he's going to discard that Bile Blade. Doesn't really think it's necessary in this game.
Yeah, if he's playing the game to the point where he's trying to deploy Gray Merchant, then he doesn't really care too much about Anthony making a couple of 1/1s and being able to chump block.
Yeah, I think we're just in the point of the game where he's going to make rats, and Gray Merchant is going to put him out of any possible burn range.
Yeah. If Anthony has found a Skullcrack in the intervening turns, then that gives him some sort of shot here. And he does play 4 main deck, but does not appear that he has any in hand.
So Anthony is debating what he wants to do. He plays the Temple, and now it looks like he has the another Toil Trouble. So like you said, he's going to probably want to cast them earlier rather than later, because again, with JT constantly discarding cards, it's not going to get any better for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Significant deck reg error on the Temple of Silence is actually playing Temple of Deceit. So Anthony trying to figure out some way to navigate through this game.
And he's in a tough spot here. I mean, Pack Rat is just too good in this situation. And Anthony's going to attack JT down to 16. But yeah, JT's just got too much of a solid board position here. Even if he doesn't play the Gray Merchant this game, it doesn't really matter. He's got 3 Pack Rats already in play. He's going to be able to make another one. So that's 12 points of damage that's going to be coming over for Anthony this turn.
Yeah, and Toil and Trouble does have moments of being very good against Mono Black Devotion, but when they're able to get a good Pack Rat draw, where they're able to make their land drops, just not a very effective weapon, especially when the burn deck's on the draw.
Yeah, getting a Pack Rat going early or getting a Desecration Demon are basically the 2 ways you have to kind of beat this deck. And that's exactly what we saw. Turn 2 Pack Rat JT was left unmolested from Anthony. So basically JT was able to have his way with him. And now Young Pyromancer is going to be forced to jump in front of a rat. And it doesn't look like JT's even activating. He's just going to play Desecration Demon here. So that's interesting here. I still think probably I'd rather almost discard that just to make another rat. But still 6/6. It will allow him to block Chandra's Phoenix if he chooses.
Yeah. Desecration Demon is a bit of a hedge in the event that Anthony is able to cobble together something unlikely, like killing some rats and then overloading Mizium Mortars. But you're right in that it doesn't make too much of a difference from this spot.
Yeah, he's just got too much power in play, and his life total is at 18. So eventually, if he does even draw a 5th land, he's going to be able to cast Grey Merchant, and that Grey Merchant will be a drain for 7. So pretty impressive board here for JT. He also has a Devour Flesh too. So let's see what Anthony's going to be able to cobble here. He doesn't really have much action. He has that Boros Charm along with another land, and this is sort of the problem with red-white decks in general, is that they have a tough time dealing with creatures with toughness greater than 2. Once they start, because it's tough, you have to kind of split your removal between, you don't want to waste your burn on creatures because that's your main way to win. You don't really have a lot of reusable threats.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why Searing Blood is such a critical piece for this deck, such a crucial addition, as it gives it some way to fight the board while also still burning. But you are correct that you can't really split the difference. You have to be committed to exactly one plan, and JT is just simply faster at racing right now than Anthony is.
So Anthony played a Young Pyromancer, and then he cast Boros Charm, targeting JT, making him a token. So now it looks like Anthony might try and, I guess he's debating on whether or not he wants to be a little aggressive, sacrifice the token to tap down the demon, and attack with the Challenger's Phoenix, although I just think he's dead if he does that.
Yeah, this is one of those spots where there's no real good way to get out.
Yeah, he could block one of the rats, and then he could actually sacrifice the Challenger's Phoenix to tap the demon again. However, yeah, it doesn't look like an attack is probably a good thing for Anthony here. He basically would just be dead. So yeah, he's going to just play a land and pass the turn back to JT. JT draws a card for the turn. It looks like it is a Mutavault, so perfect draw for him. Now he plays Grey Merchant, and that's game. Anthony Lowry concedes to the Grey Merchant. Even though it wasn't lethal, it was pretty much going to be after the attack.
Yeah. If he wasn't for sure going to win that game, then the Grey Merchant certainly solidifies it.
Yeah, so JT Henricks wins the first game with a pretty good Pack Rat draw there. Basically, didn't really cast any spells other than Pack Rat and Grey Merchant.